Hello, Antoinette here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do an oracle deck video. So that's something I don't do often, and I don't even think I've put half of these decks up for you to view actually. So you may recognise some, you may not. Some, as I say, have got flip throughs on my channel, and others I really haven't done, and it just kind of occurred to me, why not? Now, what prompted the oracle video? There's been lots of chat in the community, lots of people are sharing their oracle decks, talking about them, and there's been lots of talk around toxic positivity, especially relating to potentially oracle decks as well, because we have so many with sort of positive affirmations and words and things. Here comes Marjorie with her bone. Just ignore her in the background. So I kind of, listening to the conversation, didn't think that I had decks which caused such an issue, and kind of felt a bit like I was missing the point or the boat or, you know, whatever. I just wasn't quite sure that I had anything to join in with the conversation. That is part of the reason why I have pulled all my decks out to have a look at them and see why they feel different to me, I suppose. So I'm just going to go through them, ramble our way through this video. You get to see a few cards and decks. I'll give you some of my thoughts and feelings about them. And then we'll just see whether or not I come to a conclusion at the end of that, because either way, I don't have strong feelings on this particular subject. And that's probably just because of the way I'm wired and the way my brain works. So I have 3 layers. This isn't all of them. I've got a couple decks missing from this collection because they haven't worked their way into my collection yet. They're either new ones or they're actually in my purgatory box. Because for very opposite reasons, toxic positivity, they go too negative, too far the other way, and I haven't also found ways to use them for that reason. Right, so the top row up here are ones that I very rarely use, or currently, if ever, they've kind of not been in my practice for months on end. So if we start with over here, and it's not for any particular reason, I just haven't been in my practice. So I have Love Your Inner Goddess by Lana Fairchild. This is a really pretty deck. It comes with a nice guidebook, and the backs are here. Now this deck has kind of keywords on it and it's artistic. I didn't buy this deck necessarily for use for an oracle. I actually bought this to inspire me artistically to do things with it. So that's what this deck is in my collection for, but I can see now, coming back and looking at it, how it might be slightly not relatable. But we have like a word to the person on the card, and then we have some words of advice. So you're stronger than you think. Now this is all about embracing your inner goddess or your inner self, your inner strength. To me, that's what it means. So actually, I think that those words could well be quite inspiring, and they're not always in your face. So some of them are, this is what I mean by getting it from my own inspiration. So even the sun doesn't know it's a star. So when you're kind of missing what you are, starborn. So there are positive meanings in this deck, but I think ones that could help you if you're struggling or you're in a place where you just can't sort of see the light for the trees. But of course, it's a chaotic deck. It's very chaotic looking. I appreciate that. Not everyone's kind of style. Moonchild. I'm just going to bring this one closer to me. Every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. So that's this deck. I think this deck works better with the guidebook. I couldn't work with this deck just alone reading cards. I don't think I would need to come into the guidebook. And with the guidebook, you do get inner reading. So for Starborn, that's quite lucky. You have a strong spiritual connection with the universe. Trust your intuition and your inner feelings about things, especially when your inner feelings is at odds with the appearance of something. So this deck perhaps would be when you're doubting something, you're doubting what your gut's telling you, what you need to do. You have your spiritual guidance. There is stardust in your soul. So it is a very positive deck. And then you have a sacred ritual. So you can do this exercise physically or by visualizing, feeling, imagining, and pretending. You are going to gaze at the stars in the night sky, lying on your back. Feel the pleasant heaviness of your body connecting to the earth as you relax and gaze at the stars, imagining that you may open your heart and receive the starlight they generously shine. maybe you see or feel a shooting star. That's another star-born soul, just like you, making her way to the earth to increase light, love and light on this planet, just like you do. So yeah, okay, this is a positive deck, but I think when you're feeling a little bit low and a little bit weak, this one might be something that you need. But as I say, this is my artistic inspiration deck. And the artwork on this is by Lisa Ferrant, and it's a Blue Angel deck. So that's that one. I haven't done any art like this for months, actually, so that's why that one's not been around in my collection much. Then we have the Everyday Witch Oracle with the art by Elizabeth Alba, and the deck is from Deborah Blake. We have the backs. Again, this one, for me, you need to work with a book. It does have, you know, words on it. So we have inspiration and courage, water magic, gratitude and thanks, joy and delight, the healing waters, rebirth and reinvention. Now, how would you use this deck? I was using this deck on, say, a day where I wanted something to focus my energy on. What should I focus on today? What should I do today? That's how I would use this deck. And let's just find rebirth and regeneration or reinvention. Water, page 94. So it's in elements in this book. So we are all born, and someday we will all die. Along the way, we recreate ourselves either intentionally or through circumstances beyond our control, becoming far different from the children, teens, or young adults that we once were. And then you get an action. So think about all the major shifts in your life has taken over the years and how you have changed from where you are, where you started out, and how you've become. Are you happy with the person you are now? So there are some kind of thoughtful prompts that go with this, which is probably why, actually thinking back now, why I was using it on Wednesdays when I had a day off, because I could journal along with the card, and those prompts kind of do go with that. So you have a divination section. So this card is indicating one of two things. Either you are in the midst or just coming out of a big shift, in which case it's time to celebrate your rebirth, or you are overdue to reinvent yourself. So that's just the encouragement to change things up, to become, to do, to not be afraid to let go or to create. And then the magic. So if you wanted to do a little ritual, you get a ritual to go with each card. So that is the Everyday Witch Oracle. And yes, there is a tarot that goes with this, but I think the artwork is just beautiful. It's lovely and colourful, and it's quite a gentle deck, to be honest. It's not... I don't find it too kitsch either way. I think it's got some sensible stuff in it. It took me a while to work out how to work with this deck. And that's when I thought that you should just be able to pick up any Oracle deck and read. And then slowly I realised you do need to use a guidebook occasionally. So we have a Stacey DeMarco, the Halloween Oracle. I really don't use this very often at all, to be honest. It was just a Halloween deck. The artwork is lovely. So we have the most magical hour of all is midnight. So you get your keyword and kind of indication down below. So skeleton and strength. Eternal love. Love is love is love. And it transcends physical death. Ancestors, the love and legacy of our DNA. Now, I understand to other people this might give some great insight. So the jack-o'-lantern protection, of course, because that's what they're for. The skull of darkness, blind spots. But then how would you incorporate that into your actual self-care, daycare, your own reading to give you guidance? I mean, I guess with the skull of darkness, blind spots, it's telling you to assess what you're missing, what you're not seeing, what's going on around you, and what you kind of need to pay more attention to. But let's just have a look. Skull of darkness. So the book is just black and white, and you get a couple of skulls at the back. So most of them are other things, and then you get your skulls. So our skull of darkness. We may not wish to delve there, the shadows, the darkness, the unknown, yet when we search, we reveal, and our power, it has grown. And then you get some quite a bit of writing about how to guide you through that little kind of saying there. So that's probably things that we're missing in the situation or within ourselves, is how I would read that card at that point. And is there something I'm purposefully ignoring that I don't want to confront or do? And usually we already know the answer to that type of card. We already know what it is that we are purposefully ignoring. At some stage of our life, we have certain blind spots that may cause us grief and trouble. So, you know, things that we lock away in the back of our minds because we just don't want to deal with them. That's maybe the sort of things that I might use this for. But I've now got other decks in my collection, I think, that cover what this one does. So I haven't got rid of it yet or put it in purgatory, but it's there. We have the Tree Magic. This is my very first ever Oracle deck, and I forget that I own it because I bought it in 97, I think. It comes with a book. It's by Gillian Kemp. I do not think you can still buy this just because it's so old. The backs are beautiful, and it's exactly what it says. So you get trees and you get words on them. So we have the cedar tree, and the keyword is duration, and then it has words of advice are evergreen, durability, enduring, perseverance, and limitless light. Bring your wishes to fulfillment. We have the baobab tree for resourcefulness. Your thirst for knowledge will be answered by mystic thoughts in your subconscious. So I guess this is sort of telling you to like tap into what's going on within inside. So the tree of life, we have the ash tree here, which is for influence. And from the innermost center of your psyche, your good influence radiates far, spreading light. It's a little bit positive affirmation-esque, but if you're looking for a positive affirmation, perhaps it's one of the better ones around. And the book is in colour, and you have just a little bit on each tree that it talks about. So the larch tree, an event is on the horizon about to elevate your happiness above the level of everyday life. And the larch tree says good news is on the way. So yeah, I haven't used it, I don't think. I mean, I got it way back when. I probably used it the year I got it. Didn't really understand what I was doing. Trying to read this, that's why I bought this one. I'm trying to read it, wasn't getting much headway with it, and it kind of then went way into storage and only came back out recently when I remembered that I had it somewhere. So I haven't found a place for that one in my usage. So it's just there more for sentimental value. We have the Oracle of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish, and the artwork is by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. So some of you will know that's one of my favourite artists, or certainly the first one that I started collecting heavily on. And it comes with a book. It's black and white. The books for this deck, I think, are really important. All of these decks, I think the guidebooks are important. So you get your card, you get the name of the card, the message that comes with the card, you get about what the card is. You have a section where the card speaks to you and gives you information from its heart, and then you get the divination meaning, so your kind of standard divination meaning. And you get some spreads and things in there. But I think that these books you do need to use to go with the cards, because I don't find this particular deck doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. So we have the backs. And then this is slightly, because this one's a bit borderline, like maybe overly positive. Perhaps that's why it doesn't have a space in my collection. So we have the Hedgehog Love card, positive, uplifting, new friends. I mean, that's actually a really nice thing to know, isn't it? But it's not always relatable to what's going on in your life. We have the Black Cat, lost magic, atonement, rebalance. So maybe that's somebody who's not feeling quite in balance or lost in their ways, don't know how to reconnect to the world. We have the Orca Magic, so the Akashic libraries are open. Again, that's quite hard to tap into. That's more about your kind of spiritual journey, I think, when we talk about shapeshifting here. You are unlike anyone else. Your contradictions and complexities are interesting. That's a nice thing to be told if you're feeling like the odd one out, the loner, the strange person. Because actually everyone's strange, everyone's alone, and everyone's an odd one out, I think. I don't think there is a normal. A loyal guardian, a magical protector is there for you. So even if you don't have an animal or an ally, that's reminding you there is somebody that's either stood beside you that you can't see. But again, that might be a bit too airy-fairy for somebody. They might need something more tangible to read or to deal with or to anchor themselves onto. We have our little owlin, wisdom as light as a feather. So, Little Red Riding Hood, I am not a victim. So yeah, I mean, I haven't quite gelled with this particular deck and the messages that come with it. But it is a wonderful deck. And I think I have it more so, if I'm honest with you. This is more about the artwork for this one than it is anything else. I have the Fallen Angel Oracle cards. I've had this deck for a while. I do use it, but not very often. Again, this one can be a bit borderline. I know it says Fallen Angel, so it feels like it ought to be quite dark, but not always. So we have the Angel Valifor, and the keyword here is honesty. But how would you use that if you needed prompting or you needed help throughout the day? Honesty, be honest with yourself. What is it that's actually, what is the root cause of what's causing you to be searching for the answers in the card maybe? Bathin, so travel. That one's a bit harder. I would have to look that up in the deck, I think. Veil, secrecy. So are you being secretive? If somebody being secretive, is there something that you need to say, get off your chest? Quiet strength, so sitting back and observing from a different perspective, just seeing what's going on and not having to get involved. We have the mystery. Conflict, so what is the conflict that's causing you again to feel bad? Upheaval, rebirth. So this was the artwork, if I'm really honest. The artwork was beautiful. Like the artwork a lot. With regards to the cards, you don't get a lot written on them, you just get your card. So you have your element, your planet, the message. So for this one, the keyword is settlement, or in this case it calls it the motto. So we have settlement for the keyword, and then the message, peace through strength and armed vigilance, be prepared to defend what you hold dear. That might then prompt you into understanding more about the card, I think, and then you have a little bit of a write-up there about each card. So that's the Fallen Angels, by Nigel Suckling. It's one of those weird boxes. I don't like the box, if I'm honest. I don't like this white cardboardy stuff that's in there, and you know, the book could have just been maybe smaller with a different box. But anyway, that's that one. Moving along, so we're coming into more regular territory. So starting with the Modern Goddess Oracle by Ethany. This deck has its own use, basically. It has some very pretty backs. They are all archetypes or goddesses, exactly as it says. So we have Hel, Hathor, Saraswati, Amarantya, Persephone, Xochitl, Hecate, Freya, Isis, Mazu. There we go, we have the Crone, Frigg, Rhiannon, the High Priestess, Kuan Yin, Pele, Sedna, the Guide. So archetypes and goddesses are in there. It's not every one that you're ever going to come across, but it's the ones that she uses and works with. And the book, again, you need the book to work with them. So for Kuan Yin, you have keyword, symbols, affirmation to go with it. So Kuan Yin is, I speak compassionately about myself and others. That's reminding you to speak well about yourself. You have information about the goddess, should you want it. The reason why I like these decks, again, is because of the book that Ethany puts together. So the book has a divinatory meaning for the card. And then you get working with the goddess if you want to work with the goddess energy. So you do get how to do that. Like making mantras, encouraging people you love while they work on their goals. So being a nice person, being good. You get the dark side of the meaning of the cards, so she gives you both sides. So it's not all, you know, sweetness and light and fairy dust. And then how to work with the card and how to heal with it. So it gives you prompts on what to do. Perhaps you might need to reach out for help with someone you trust. You need to talk something out. Working with the heart chakras, crystals such as rose quartz, rhodochrosite and jade. It could be that you need to go to water, you know, immerse yourself in water, because she's a water goddess, just to help you get to where you need to be to move forwards. So that's that deck from Ethany. I have the 7 Energies by Colette Baron-Reid. Now, her decks have a place in anyone's collection, I think. Not every deck, but some. And Colette's decks are aimed at positivity, yes, but they're created for a reason. So these are the backs of this one. And this one is based on your chakras, the 7 energies. Artwork is very beautiful, very pretty, very picturesque. So you can sit and stare at the artwork. There's nothing confronting about the artwork with these cards. So ears wide open, waking the lion, a grand symphony, exposed and revealed, body and soul, wish upon a star. So if we come back and look at exposed and revealed, so we can see we have an eye with a person inside. So you could read that card as it comes. And again, I sometimes use this just as the Wednesday cards for me, you know, like what do I want to know, focus on today. So let me find card 21 a minute. So the deck is split up into the chakras, as I've said. So card 21 is part of energy 3, which is your fire, which would be your sacral chakra. Exposed and revealed. So we have the key concepts to the card: healing, shame, the imposter syndrome, letting go of self-condemnation, freedom from past unresolved wounds, focusing on self-worth, the underlying beauty in rejection. So I don't think this is too much of a toxic positive deck. I think it's actually a really good deck. I like the fact that Colette is usually, the 2 decks I own have been quite balanced in what she says. So this is when you experience shame, you don't just feel you've done something wrong, you feel like you are wrong, fundamentally flawed. Isn't that true? So how many of us, when we do make a mistake in work or somewhere, we're like, we are the hardest critic of ourselves. We're the person that treats ourselves the worst out of everyone else usually. So this could be about, you know, exploring why you're doing that. Many social interactions are steeped by distorted, unhealthy ways of expressing pain and shaming. So we have, here is the way out of this. See shame as the heart-wrenching cry for help that it is. Consider whether you have been triggered in the outer world by unresolved issues that matched all your inner pain points. If someone is shaming you, perhaps you have triggered them. How miserable they must be too, to expend their energy in such toxicity at you. Look upon shame as an opportunity for growth, evolution, healing and freedom. With this in mind, can you let go of your attachment to control? Can you admit that this emotion isn't something that you have power over, and surrender to a higher power? So there are things in there to make you think about the card. I think that's why I like this deck a lot. There's a lot of things in there as well. But I don't use it very often, to be fair. More because I'm the tarot person, as I've said. I go more for the tarot than I do the oracle cards. I didn't actually realise I had so many oracle decks. Probably because I was out trying to find my way with them. The next one I'm going to talk about is the Enchanted Maps. I got this at the Oracle Palooza last year with Colette, which she did online. I don't know if she's doing it this year. I haven't seen it advertised. I certainly haven't had any emails, so we have the backs. And this one is another one, like the 7 energies, but this one has guidance about getting you through. So are you feeling stuck in the mud? What's causing that stuck stage situation? The Dragon's Lair. However you want to read that card, is it because you want to feel protected? Are you feeling isolated? Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling frozen out because there's a lot of ice there? Solitude, are you feeling hermitized? Or are you just feeling cut off from the rest of the world with all the water around you? Cleaning house, Is it time to clean up? Are you collecting, gathering things? Is this cleaning house mentally or is this cleaning house physically for you? Flying. Well, soaring above the sky, I guess. Making your way out of the maze of life and just having fun. Here we have the magic stream. Rock bottom. I think that one speaks for itself, really. We have the goblins, ghostlands, slow and steady. And again, the book is going to be your best friend with this deck. So let's just go to card 12. So slow and steady wins the race. This is version 2 of the deck, by the way. So we have the upright and the reverse meaning here. Upright, remember the old cliche, slow and steady wins the race. This is time for easy movement, unhurried steps and a steady heart. Trust that taking life at a more leisurely pace will give you greater access to your dreams. Slowing down allows more contact with the juicier elements of your life. Savor them. Then you have your reverse meaning. Pushing things forward impulsively will not only prevent success, but potentially cause more trouble than you're prepared to handle. I think from that point of view, this is more of a general advice deck. I think this is a good general advice deck, which you could certainly chuck over a tarot reading. I didn't. I just used it as an oracle deck as a card a day when I was working with it. So I used it just for a card a day. And I did get good readings of that, actually, to be honest, but I never threw it on top of a... I did use it as a tarot reading. I think I used it in the middle of my tarot reading as the energy and then my tarot cards either side. So we have Queen of the Moon Oracle that's been winking at you all from down here. This is a beautiful deck. Again, I used it a lot to start with and then I haven't used it since. So here we have the backs. This is gorgeous artwork in here. So we have the Waning Gibbous, card 19, Balance. We have Surrender, Realisation. So that's that kind of standing, looking out, realising what's going on in the rest of the world, what you're missing. Here we have Will, Boundaries. Are your boundaries too narrow? Extremes. And the Hot Moon. That one's probably a little bit saucy. We have the Egg Moon, Trust. So we have the moon names in here. Long Night Moon, Darkness. The Waxing Gibbous, Fear. So let's stop there and take a look in the book. That one is card number 11. Just about make it out. So card 11, these ones have affirmations for each card. So we have Fear. The time for courage is here. Fear is only useful if it teaches you something. You must examine whether your fears are old or new, useful or unhelpful. Fear blocks flow. Affirmation for you to say out loud for yourself is, I am courageous. So I think there's some good stuff there. It's getting you to face what is causing your fear. What do you need to question? What do you need to look at? Is there one thing that stops people from fulfilling their dreams? Or even getting things done that they want done? Is it fear? Experiencing fear is built in a chemical part of the way our brain works to protect us. Emotions such as fear cause production of a whole raft of body chemicals that give us the best chance of coping with situations that need our attention to survive. So that's that fight or flight emotion. You get like the healthy fear. It talks about the healthy fear. Fear has many names. Covert ones are enemies, jealousy, codependence, procrastination, bullying, people-pleasing, disconnection. More overt ones are avoidance, fear of failure, or fear of success. So I guess which one are you? The process isn't always graceful. It isn't always impressive because it may be slow and deliberate steps that we take. Taking these steps isn't always easy. An understatement. It isn't always apparent to others, so it should be about us measuring how far we have come, not worrying about what anyone else thinks. Comparison is useless. Courage is powerful, no matter what form it takes. And then it gives us a companion stone to go with. So we have aquamarine as companion stone to help you overcome your fear. So we can choose to face that fear and flow through it until we fear less. Then eventually become fearless rather than fearless. So that's the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I'd say it's actually a really nice deck. It goes quite nicely with most of my cards, I think, now that I'm like revisiting it here. We have the Secret Pocket Oracle from Mildred Payne. Here are the backs. This is like a Lenormand card, so you have book, it's just keywords. What does that mean to you? Antidote, tooth, bee. This is a really good deck to chuck on top of a tarot reading for clarification of what's going on. It is a bit dark and it is a bit moody, so it's not what I would call a positive. You're not going to get a positive affirmation out of this deck. This is just going to give you as it is, raw and ready. It's more like a what do I do, how do I do this, how do I move out of this kind of deck. We have the Garden of Lucid Daydreaming. This one is, again, there's no words to this, so this is whatever you get from the cards. So you read the card as you want to. So here we've got plants growing out of the head, so the mind's kind of growing away, whilst they're kind of stuck in the mud. We have like, you know, little critters. We have elements in here. We also have kind of darker cards for considering. That could be whatever you want it to be. You could see that as kind of three people talking about you. It could be your ghosts chattering on your shoulders. We have the dragon, like the man-eating plant. The star child beaming in, zooming in. Or is that somebody that's just blocking your light? So this one is for however you see it. It's not... yeah, it's not an every person deck, that one. I'm very much aware of that. But it's also one that I use for my artistic creative process as well. So I have those. We have the Abandoned Oracle. This one, again, this one has keywords. It comes with a guidebook, but you have to download it online, so you don't necessarily need the keyword. But this is quite confronting. So you have combustion, cyclist, and the images are really the beggar. So if you pulled this, you might need to ask yourself, what is it that I'm, the mad one, you know, what is it that I'm running round and round in my head? What is it I'm not letting go of? What can't I drop? Poison, what, you know, what's being toxic? What's toxic to me? What's giving me the anxiety, the bad feelings? Why do I feel like I can't breathe? Why do, you know, why do things feel like they don't taste very good? What's leaving the bad taste in my mouth? Ink, body image, body conscious, body beautiful, perhaps. The infection. Are you putting things into your body that's making you feel ugly on the outside? Are you feeling ugly on the outside? Why are you feeling ugly on the outside? What is it you're not doing to fulfill your needs to make you feel pretty? So there's all sorts of ways you can use this. Blasé. Are you being blasé of somebody else? Is somebody else not listening to you? Is somebody not taking you seriously? Or are you not being able to communicate properly because you're making light of a situation that actually is affecting you inside? We have the sculpture, so pedestal even. The disguise, who's hiding behind what, you know, what is it that we're not seeing? Reattachment, so putting yourself back together again, helping yourself to heal. What do you need for you? So I do like this one. This one goes well with a tarot reading, I think, as a kind of card to help finish up or to help round up your reading. But again, it's not what I would call a positive affirmation deck. It's more of a thought-provoking roundup to your reading. We have Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment. So we have the backs here. This one I very, very rarely use in a reading. This is more, again, this is the artwork style for me. This is an art inspiration deck. I've talked about this deck many times in how I use oracles, in some of my videos and some of my journal flip throughs, and I like it for that reason. The guidebook that comes with this does have some really good kind of readings to go with it, so you can use this. You can also use it as an energy card to start your reading. I think it works quite well, or even as a decoration card to your reading, or an extra flavour, an added element. It's perhaps not one I'd use as a here's where I am at today. This is more as a flavour to my reading, an element to my reading, an extra thing to think about, an extra thing to consider from this deck. these are all tuck boxes, sorry, I'm fiddling. We have the Oracle of Echoes from Anaturian. Actually, I didn't say, did I? Those 4 decks are all by Patrick Lenser, and they're all from Deviant Moon. This one I think is still available. It was sold out, but I think it's still available. So that's the Garden of Lucid Daydreams. Not in that pouch, you have to make your own, sorry. So here we have Anaturian's Oracle of Echoes. This has keywords on it. The images are quite dark. So we have create space. So that to me is instantly. So if I was pulling this to see what's going on, if I'm feeling off, this might be the deck that I pull out. Why am I feeling off? And this is going to tell me to create space for myself. So that's telling me that I am off, and I need to just go away, be alone with my emotions and thoughts, journal it out and come back later before I offend somebody. Being courageous, facing your fears, intuition, what is it that you're hearing that you're missing? Healing, yeah, taking time to heal. So I might have to question myself of what it is that I think needs healing. That might take a bit more deeper, like looking into myself. Depression. Here we have trust. Self-sabotage. So it's not a light deck. It's not a lightness deck. It's not a massively positive deck, actually. Looking at it and looking at the images, just the way it's drawn. Look within, the moon. I think her second edition of this, the images come across a bit more lightweight, if that's the right word to use. They don't feel so dark because they've been made a bit bigger. The black borders have been taken off. So I think they kind of weight the deck a little bit to me to give it that moody feeling. Here we have the Soul Cards 1, and it comes with blue backs. These are wordless. There is no guidebook. You read the card, intuit the card as you want. So if you're feeling a little bit low, a little bit down, you want to like tap into your feelings, you're not understanding why you're feeling away, you could drop out one of these cards and just sit and look at it and be like, what does this give me? And why does it give me that? So once you've got what it gives you, why does it make you feel like that? And then you put that down in a book, I think. Journal that one out of your system. So it's just beautiful artwork. And this is by Deborah Chapin. She's got a couple of these out, and there are, she's got quite a few decks. So you might like a number of her decks. But that is the Soul Cards. As I say, that's deck 1. I don't have deck 2. I don't know that I need deck 2, to be honest. I quite like this one because it's more thought-provoking to me than feeling-y. So we got to there. Right, ooh, where are we at? Well done if you're still with me. This is a long video. Crumbs. Let's see if we can speed up. We have the Awakened Soul Oracle, again, from Ethany. Here are the backs. Here is the book. You need the book, as I say, because she writes very good guidebooks with a balance inside. And we have beautiful art in here. Who did the art? The art's by Danielle Mulligan. And we have a keyword hiding in the art. So here we have Shapeshifter, challenge, surrender, guidance, connection. This one does work to round up as a word of wisdom for a tarot reading, definitely. But also as a card just for you. What is going on with me today? I don't know about you lot, but when I pull a card for me, I'm usually wanting to know what's going on either in what's affecting my inner landscape or what's affecting my outer landscape. Why am I feeling so, I don't know, sad? What's causing this sadness within me today? And then you could have a look. And so if we had, say, family, I'd have to sit and ponder on why is family causing sadness in me today? Has something happened recently? Was there an event? Was there an emotion? Was there something that's not been said? Has somebody caused or done an action and I'm just not doing what I need to do? Here we have truth, and she's holding her throat. You know, are you holding back? Are you not speaking something out loud that you need to speak? So we have that one, the guidebook. So in here you have, so you have your symbols in the thing, you have your keywords, you get your story of the card, you get the awakened meaning for the card, you get the shadow meaning, so the reverse meaning for the card, you get an affirmation, so we have the mantra for those beads. There was a card before that one, wasn't it? I align my words to create a positive reality. And then you get personal reflection. These are what I like about Ethany's decks. What are some of the ways that you can use words more positively in your daily life? So what have you been telling yourself negative that you can now change into a positive? How can you turn around the inner dialect, the inner dialogue, what's happening inside? How can you make it less negative to you? How can you be kinder to yourself and speak nicer to yourself? We have the Witch's Oracle. Love this deck. I'm using it a lot at the moment. Sometimes alone, sometimes on top of my tarot reading for clarification. You get, so this is a Sally Morningstar, illustrated by Danuta Meyer. And you get your keywords that go with your card. You get a quick note, high note, low note, so I call that an upright and a reverse meaning. You get a bit about the meaning, and you get a bit about the kind of history that leads up to the card and how it comes about. I have talked about this one a lot, so I'm not going to go through this one too much. And for those that are aware, I cut the cards down, made myself a pouch, and rewrote the book to make a smaller book so I can carry it around with me. Because, yeah, it struck me that much. Seasons of the Witch. This one I use as a practical guide for me. I use this on top of a tarot reading. I use the book. It's a brilliant deck for me. This works beautifully. I like it. You have your spells and potions, a pinch of this, a dash of that. Be sure you're sure before you call. So that to me is about the law of attraction and what you're sending out to the universe, what you're pulling back. Coming of winter. We have Rooted, All Hallows Eve, Journey. That's quite a lonely journey. So daughters of our mother, walkers of the unknown, take with you on this journey all that you own. So just being, wise as you step out and go off and do what you're off to do. So this deck, I don't really use this for what's going on with me. I use that more for just like additional flavour to a tarot reading. And that is Seasons of the Witch Samhain edition, illustrated by Giada Rose. And then we have the current deck, the Beltane one. I do have the Your one. I don't like it. I don't use it. That's upstairs in my purgatory box. We have the book. As I say, you do actually need the book for these to get you going, to understand the cards if you're not familiar with the concept of Beltane or the stories or the lore and traditions that come with it. And then we have Sacred Waters. Drunken by the swell of the sea, I can feel the blanket of her embrace. Unafraid of the presence releasing the cords, I call her in. I call her deeply within. So healing with the waters, the watery energy. We have Pegasus. Break free, dear one, spread wide and far, for you aren't containable, you are limitless. So, yeah, this one I don't use so much for a me, what's going on. It's more just a chuck down on top of my cards. Again, a flavour, a good flavour for my reading, or an additional, spice. Angels and Ancestors, Oracle Cards by Kyle Gray, artwork by Lily Moses. This is a really nice deck. This is what I call my first Oracle deck, but I got the Tree Magic one first, which I forget about. This one is the one I got recently when I started coming back to divination, back to cards, and properly reading for myself. So we have the She-Wolf, Unleash Wild Within. We have Water Guardian, Connect with Your Emotions. I think so. You could use this one for when things are going a little bit awry and you're feeling a little bit lost and you're not sure what to do. So connecting with your emotions. So what is it emotionally that's triggering you? What's, not right? Then we have Drum, Dream and Journey. So perhaps it's suggesting that you might want to take some quiet time to meditate on what's happening with you. The Arrow, surround yourself with protective energy. Again, for me, that would be some meditation. Doing what you need to do to feel safe. It's that you need to talk to people, be brave and be honest. Again, that one could be that you need to talk to somebody. We have our Shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts. So borderline whether this one's going to give you what you need for advice, but I use it as in who wants to speak to me. This is how I use this deck. And so for our Shaolin Master, he's telling us to be graceful in movement and action. The message, slow and steady, breathe and flow, take a gentler approach. You have the About the Shaolin Master and all about what they are and what they stand for in a very small paragraph. Then you get the extended message, which is where I normally go. So you are being guided to flow like water, blow like air, and connect with your purest intentions. Don't feel you need to rush ahead. A gentler approach may be more fruitful and rewarding. Move with subtlety and grace. Reach high, but also ask yourself how you can move with the flow of life rather than pushing against it. Do you have the capacity to refocus your gaze at this time? Can you slow down? Are you more or take more time to soften and breathe as you move forwards? All of this will be incredibly beneficial for what happens next. So this is why I like this one, is because it does put some questions in the meanings, gives you something to think about. It's not always a question, but it does usually kind of prompt you to consider your action before you take it. That's why I like this deck. I find it to be, just a really good kind of read. The Sacred Destiny. So I got those two together at the same time. I think they arrived on the same day, so it's a toss-up. I think the Angels and Ancestors went in my basket first and Sacred Destiny went in second. Again, this one you have the guidebook and you can use the guidebook, but you have beautiful artwork on this. It's quite simplistic and you just get a keyword. So purification. What does purification mean to you? How can you purify your life? Is that, so let's go back. So is this standing outside in the rain and feeling the raindrops landing on you? Is this taking a wash? Is it that you need to clean house? Do you need to clear house? Do you need to clear out your friends? Going forwards, so watching the path that goes forwards, where do you want to go? Where do you want that path to take you? Where do you want it to lead you? Standing still. Why do you need to stand still for a moment? Are you needing to stand still? Is it because you're trying to move forwards too fast, too quickly? Are you trying to push? Finding your inner peace. Delight. So lots of keywords in here. I've probably already given you most of my kind of thoughts on what happens, but here we have, say, flow and the meandering river. It tells you about the meandering river. I never really read that bit. Then we get the sacred landscape wants you to know. So here we have, there are times to hold on tight to the shore and there are times to enter the flow. Notice where life is going and move in that direction. Watch for signs and follow them. Don't resist when you go with the flow. Your life force expands and healing on all levels abounds. This is also time to release old limiting patterns, forgive and let go of the need to be right about your beliefs. If you aren't feeling the smooth currents of life, it might mean that you're being self-critical or judgmental. When you enter the flow with gratitude and love, you will find blessings and surrounding you. You will enter into a state of grace and healing will abound. Now, yeah, that could be a little bit airy-fairy, a little bit wishy-washy, but if we took out of that, there was an important section here. So time to look at and release old limiting patterns. So you could go back and see what are your limiting patterns that are causing that flow to get stuck or blocked. Are you being overly self-critical or judgmental about yourself if you're not feeling that life is running smoothly? So yeah, I like it for those kind of reasons, this deck. And I find that those prompts, those kind of thought bits in the guidebook are really helpful. And I hadn't realised until those questions about the toxic positivity and using oracle decks came forward that I look into the deck and use it slightly differently than the guidebook. I don't just read the guidebook and take it verbatim. I do that whole take what resonates and leave the rest business. So we have Liz Vampires by Lucy Cavendish, and the artwork is a Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. So we have the backs. This is an inner landscape deck to me, very much so. So we have here thirst, craving, compulsion, and obsession. So if I'm feeling bad, low, in a weird place, not quite sure what's going on, I'm feeling a bit funky, the energy around me is funky, then I am definitely asking myself here, what is it that I'm obsessing over, or what is the compulsion? What is it I keep going back and doing? What can't I break the cycle of? Or if it's food, what is it I'm craving and why? You have rebellion, upstart, tumult, revolution. So am I being purposefully pig-headed, strong-headed, strong-willed, whatever you want to call it, and standing in my own way? Am I cutting my own nose off to spite my own face with my behaviour? Here we have the Maynard, madness, ecstatic, ritual, energy, release. So am I creating my own kind of insanity, my own insanity cycle with this? Or am I over ritualizing things? Do I need to release something? Redemption, absolution, forgiveness, penance. Here we have sacrifice. So renunciation, offering, letting go. What is it you need to let go of? What do you need to sacrifice? So to sacrifice something causes pain and hurt, and the only way to feel that is to sacrifice something that means something to you often. So what is it that you need to let go of that's going to be a sacrifice to you? Because whatever it is may be causing you harm in your life. Here we have free will, sovereignty, independence, free spirit, hope, anticipation, bright prospects, wish. So transgression, flaws, contradictions, mistakes. Let's have a look at that one, shall we? Transgression card 41. So again, we have a black and white book. You have the vampire speaks to you. I don't read that bit. You get the blessing, the curse, and working with the card. So for our transgression, the blessing, when we go against our integrity, our soul will let us know, and if we continue to deny that inner voice, the universe will show us where we are going wrong. The curse, crowding out our inner voice, continuing down a path that we know is against the truth of our soul, so breaking the universal laws. So if I'm feeling bad about myself, and this is a card that's come up, or I'm feeling stuck or, stagnant, off, just not feeling myself, I'm not feeling on point, and that card comes out, I'm probably going to look at the curse section more than the blessing. I'll read it as a balance, but it's probably going to be the curse I'm focusing on. So I'm going to be looking at what the universal laws are that I'm breaking, what's causing my inner voice to be muted out. Am I closing down my own self? Am I cutting off my voice? Then we have working with this card, make amends, take stock, assess and redirect. Come back into harmony with the voice of your soul. So you get the suggestion on how to come back and how to work and how to be happier or more centered, more balanced, whatever you want to say, type of human being. My last deck I'm going to talk about, finally, because it's been a very long video, is the Oracle of Shadows and Light, Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffiths as the artist. Again, I used the guidebook. Here we have the backs, and here we have some of the cards. So the cards are named. So we have our Nautilus Princess, and we have powerful personal growth. So you can read the card as it comes by looking into what's here. So we have water elements. We know we've got emotions. We have pearls for wisdom. We have shells. Shell could be classed for anything here. You have the hermit crab that comes out of a shell. You have the Nautilus that goes, the Da Vinci spiral. So tapping into the kind of elements, we have the three witches sisters and a power of three. Now that could be listening to the advice that they give. It could be that you need to talk to your sisters. Anything you want it to be, really. Angel de la Muertos, so transitions into the spirit realm. So should we take a look at what she says? Card 16. So we get the message is transitions into the spirit realm. We get about the angel here, so it gives you some information. You get the angel speaking to you, and then you get a divination message. So she's speaking to us saying, I bring you a message from a loved one whose spirit seems to have already departed, but whose physical presence lingers on for now as he or she prepares to depart from this life. I ask you now to acknowledge your loved ones who are resting in spirit or creating new lives for themselves and their souls. You may soon be about to meet a beloved in a new form. I ask you to stay open-minded about the form in which the souls can come, and I ask you to be open to the message from the loved ancestors. They have something to tell you, and it will come to you soon, in a vision, a dream, a message during daydream that will bring you such sweet, tangible proof that there is still life after death. The divination message reads, the angel's appearance in a reading signifies that you must not delay activating this lifetime's purpose. Her message is not only from those who have passed, but of the truth that you can activate in your new life while you are still alive. It is no longer necessary to pass to recreate the life contract and purpose you have. You do not wish to leave in order to start anew. Believe that this life is a constant process instead of creation, and that you are at a point where you can end a pattern without ending this life. Energy is changing, and death is no longer the greatest reshaper. The angel comes to visit you now, so the fear of mortality passes, and that you can understand and you can begin to rebirth yourself into a new life now. So that's actually quite poignant for me, having just lost my gran and had her funeral yesterday. There's a lot in there for me, I think. Here we have Marie Masquerade, glamour, intrigue, drama. But this one, I use this for what's affecting my outer landscape, what outside influences are affecting me internally, I guess, is how I use this one. And the Les Vampires is one I use for what internal aspects are affecting my external landscape. So I use them opposite each other, and I get some really good clear readings with these. So thank you. If you managed to hang on and watch all of that, I hope you enjoyed it. That is basically my entire Oracle deck, bar probably 3 decks, which are not here. But yeah, so do you use Oracle? How do you use them? What do you use them for? And do you think this collection could be rendered too positive? Or do you think it's got a nice balance? I'm thinking it's got a nice balance. I can't say that with my ramble I've worked out how I use cards. I can't say that they've given me, you know, any more perspective on what I do with them. I think I use them intuitively as I wish, basically. I think I can make my own dialect with the cards, so I'm not just tied to the positivity in the card. I think I like the fact that my decks have balance to them. They have reverse meaning, and by reading the reverse meaning as well as the positive meaning, it allows me to balance out what's coming from the card itself. I do enjoy the fact that I have nice pictures. I do like artwork. I do like visual stimulation in many forms, as you've discovered today. But yeah, I think on the whole, my cards are perhaps quite good. I don't think they're particularly seasonal. I think they have a fairly standard shadow-esque appeal about them. So I think maybe that the cards I pick, the decks I pick, without knowing, are to work on the other side of me that I never really acknowledged or didn't realise existed or never paid much attention to. So perhaps that's how I am using my decks. But yeah, take care. I will see you on the other side. Goodbye.